Hi everyone, my name is Anna Sawyer and today I'll be presenting to you my SMP titled Edible Activism Transformed, or E.A.T, at the SMCM Veggie Co-op. The food that we eat has power. It has the ability to shape memories, bring people together, and educate communities. Equally as powerful are the social, economic, and environmental implications that come with its purchase and consumption. In an era marked by industrial agriculture and globalization, we are losing our connection to food, its producers, and our community. Food cooperatives challenge this distant and passive consumerism by encouraging educated decisions and active participation in the food system. The New Wave cooperative model emerged in the 60s and 70s, a time defined by the civil rights movement, anti-war sentiments, and political grassroots efforts. A cooperative is an autonomous association of people united voluntarily to meet their common economic, social, and cultural needs through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. Food cooperatives expand on this definition by connecting healthy and local foods to communities, providing a space for education and discourse, and emphasizing sustainable eating practices. Food co-ops can run as businesses, where each member is an equal shareholder, or as an organization, where members shop and cook collectively in a shared space. Given that institutions of higher education are widely regarded as being a nexus of environmental activism and sustainable change, this cooperative model has become integrated into college and university frameworks nationwide, with SMCM being no exception. The SMCM Veggie Co-op at St. Mary's is an inclusive, meatless food cooperative located in the basement of Queen Anne Dormitory. It began in 1972 and remains one of the longest-lasting student-run organizations on campus. The community operates off of collective values of respect, locality, and sustainable food practices. Students in the SMCM Veggie Co-op pay $600 to a collective bank account every semester and take turns purchasing and cooking food. All members have 24/7 access to the fully equipped space and all food items that are made available. Recently, there has been a strong initiative to source foods as locally as possible. Co-op members source the majority of their produce from farmers markets or community-supported agriculture systems. They acquire bread from the local bakery and purchase eggs from local poultrymen. Members also engage in foraging and dumpster diving practices. Every Friday, members and their guests join together for a family dinner, where members share a meal and each other's company. At the end of every semester, leftover funds are equally distributed to each member. Much like other cooperatives, the St. Mary's Veggie Co-op has faced its fair share of challenges. The most notable ones being a high student turnover rate, which causes a drift in mission, lack of on-campus visibility, tension with administration, and the physical deterioration of the space. The purpose of my project is threefold: to document the history of the Veggie Co-op, to argue for the merit of the collective at SMCM specifically, and to draw from my findings to implement both organizational and physical changes to transform this edibly active community. In completing this project, I took a mixed method approach, including research, action, and personal experience and observation. For the research component, I compiled literature pertaining to the history of co-ops in the U.S. and their impact on communities. I then examined the importance of these spaces in institutions of higher education and alternative sites. This was done through my case studies investigation. To understand the history of the Veggie Co-op, I went through old co-op books and memorabilia. I then digitized this information and distributed it to the SMCM archive collection. I also interviewed several administrators on campus to understand their perception of the SMCM Veggie Co-op and what they want for the future of the organization. Lastly, I distributed a survey to past co-op members with the help of the alumni office in order to gain insight into their personal experience within the co-op. The action component of this project applied the research into the physical renovation of the space. In order to make this possible, I partnered with various stakeholders and changemakers on campus, which I will elaborate more later on. The majority of the action component of my project took place over the summer of 2019. Lastly, my personal experience as both a member and co-president of the organization greatly inspired and informed this research. As a freshman, I was introduced to the co-op and immediately fell in love with this community for the great food and friends. In fact, it's one of the main reasons why I decided to stay at St. Mary's. As time went on, my personal observations, both formal and informal conversations with members and conversations with administration, made me realize that the SMCM Veggie Co-op was in need of a major transformation in order to be successful. Just to elaborate more on the history of the co-op, it was established unofficially in 1972 by a group of students who were dissatisfied with the on-campus dining services at the Great Room of St. Mary's. Many students complained of the unhealthy and repetitive vegetarian options served at the Great Room, claiming that it made them feel ill. These students banded together, creating an alternative meal plan, and began cooking healthy food in the basement of Caroline Hall. Healthy food in this case means food with no preservatives, no added sugars, and food that doesn't contain meat or meat byproducts. In 1973, after an agreement with the Office of Res Life, these students formally started the Health Food Co-op in the basement of Queen Anne. This space was chosen because it was already equipped with a fully functioning kitchen as a result of a home ec class that was previously offered at the college. The group operated with a collective purchasing and collective values, attracting a lot of student body attention. So much so that in 1980, the 16 students who didn't make the cut for the co-op held a coup of the co-op and formed a second food co-op on campus. From the 70s up until the 90s, St. Mary's sifted through 3 dining services provider, the Aramark, Marriott, and the Woods Dining Services, in order to regain student interest. But there was little success. Students kept on applying in numbers that superseded the 20-member limit of the co-op. Members of the co-op and other students continued to protest the college, which highlighted the need for an accommodating and diverse meal plan. In 1997, St. Mary's switched to Bon Appetit Dining Services, a meal provider known for their variety of food and sustainable initiatives. As a result, student interest in the co-op majorly dropped off, going from an abundance of applicants to less than 10 members per semester. This led to a lack of leadership, causing the SMCM Veggie Co-op's mission and on-campus presence to drift. This created tensions with the administration, in particularly with residence life, because expectations were not being met, and the physical space was falling into disarray. Ultimately, the SMCM Veggie Co-op faced multiple threats of being shut down. In 2017, a new wave of passionate and driven students, myself included, joined the co-op with a mission to revive the co-op and ensure its success in the future. Food co-ops, the SMCM Veggie Co-op included, provide much more than access to local, affordable, and healthy food. They have the ability to educate, inspire activism, enhance sustainability initiatives, and build communities, characteristics which are particularly valuable at institutions of higher education. Participation in the food co-ops on college campuses is a form of experiential learning. Students apply knowledge gained in traditional classroom settings to a real-world context, informing decisions on sourcing food, what to eat, and much more. Members at the SMCM Veggie Co-op use critical thinking, leadership, and teamwork skills to guide the co-op's operation. Having an experience in a co-op advances social responsibility and civic engagements, which impacts the future. All respondents to my personal survey said that the co-op positively shaped their career and lifestyle choices. Food co-ops purposely delineate from the globalized industrial food system, which is a form of activism in itself. Given that food co-ops emerged during a highly activist era, many of their initiatives are focused on concerns of the environment and the community. The SMCM Veggie Co-op exemplifies environmental and animal rights activism by excluding meat from their consumption and purchasing practices. In doing so, participation in the SMCM Veggie Co-op accelerates sustainability initiatives, which can be defined as practices that meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future. By eliminating meat from their diet, the SMCM Veggie Co-op does not contribute to all of the environmental repercussions caused by the meat industry, like waterway pollution, deforestation, high oil use, and accelerated greenhouse gas emissions, to name a few. By sourcing locally, the SMCM Veggie Co-op reduces the food miles traveled and thus the greenhouse gas emissions associated with the travel of their produce. Forming a collective based on concern for others creates a strong community united by communal goals. In doing so, food co-ops like the SMCM Veggie Co-op create a safe and diverse space conducive to respectful discourse and action. The collective framework of food co-ops require members to work closely to solve interpersonal and organizational problems and conflicts, in turn creating a tight-knit, united community. The food cooperatives that I investigated for this project reconfirm the value of food co-ops in institutions of higher ed. I examined food co-ops on college campuses, including liberal arts colleges and state university, along with alternative spaces, in order to understand their importance and what contributed to their success. Overall, I found how important space, concern for the environment, and organizing is for cooperative success. Having a collective meeting spot that is both vibrant and welcoming grounds a community in place and also encourages participation. Additionally, all of the co-ops I studied in this case study share the common theme of acting on concern for the environment, whether it be through eating and shopping practices or composting and recycling. Having a combined goal strengthens the food co-op community. Lastly, these co-ops highlight the need for clear and effective organizational leadership. The food co-ops on college campuses worked very closely with administration and held members accountable in creative ways to ensure success for their collective. I drew from all my findings to inform both the organizational and physical changes that I applied to the co-op. Organizationally, I created a collective email account for the SMCM Veggie Co-op that is used as both a point of communication and record keeping. Through close collaboration with the Office of Residence Life, I created new documents that address the historical challenges with leadership and visibility. These documents clearly outline leadership roles, membership expectations, financing goals, and sustainability initiatives. Additionally, during my time as co-president of the co-op with Christina Miller, we established a produce plot at the Kate Chandler campus community farm, an effort to strengthen ties to on-campus groups and to further source produce locally. The physical renovation of the co-op required a lot of collaboration, as I mentioned earlier, and primarily took place over the summer of 2019. To start this process, myself and other Veggie Co-op members worked together to completely clear out the space. As you can see, there's a lot of clutter and decor that we needed to remove. We moved all appliances and furniture into the free store with the permission of the Office of Sustainability. We then deep cleaned the space, walls, floors, and all. I then collaborated with Dr. Carrie Patterson for her community arts class during the summer of 2019, with the help of Dr. Barry Muchnick. The community arts class, led by teaching assistant Haley Bogman, stripped, buffed, and primed the walls. They filled in the holes and began the muraling process. Once the class ended, Haley, myself, and other members continued the renovation process by working hundreds of hours collectively to finish the 3 murals and to refurbish the space. I worked closely with physical plant to replace the old rotting sink with a large industrial size one and to replace the light fixtures. Ultimately, this is the result: a vibrant, clean, and inviting space. A space that promotes learning, activism, sustainable change, and community. It gives a sense of excitement and importance to this cooperative community and a direction for the future of the SMCM Veggie Co-op cohorts. In conclusion, both the organizational and physical transformation I applied provided an informed and sustainable pathway for the SMCM Veggie Co-op and for its future. Its long-standing legacy at the college and impact on students reiterate the SMCM Veggie Co-op's value for the institution and beyond. For the future of the co-op, I recommend that future cohorts work collectively to continue good relationships with administration and improve their on-campus presence. By reaching out to other on-campus clubs and organizations, the Veggie Co-op can increase student body interest. In maintaining these efforts, future Veggie Co-op cohorts should keep in mind that creating long-lasting, sustainable change takes time, persistence, and insistence. I would like to take the time to thank all the wonderful people who helped make my project possible. Thank you, Dr. Barry Munchnick, Dr. Carrie Patterson, Haley Bogman, Dr. McBride, to the Office of Sustainability, the Office of Residence Life, Office of Alumni Relations, Physical Plant, and to past, present, and future SMCM Veggie Co-op members. I would like to end on this quote by Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you so much for coming to my presentations, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at amsawyer@smcm.edu.